Creative Chats podcast with Mike Brennan. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Creative Chats. It's the podcast for artists, makers, and content creators where we talk about creativity, the creative process, and story. I'm your host, Mike Brennan. I would love for you to be a part of our free community, which is found on Facebook. If you go to dailycreativehabit.com, you can find a host of resources there for you as a creator. You can join our free Facebook group and be among people who are raising their hands to say, I want to show up more consistently for my creativity and craft. You can sign up for the free Daily Creative Habit email newsletter, which goes out twice a week and provides you with specific daily creative prompts, along with some resources and inspiration to help you show up for your own creativity. Also, I have available the Daily Creative Habit Creativity Journal, which is a 90-day journey that you can go on. And it is designed to help you have a system so that you can be intentional about your creativity, what it looks like, when you're going to show up, how you're going to celebrate it, and get into a habit and create a bias towards action when it comes to your creativity. This is available at Amazon.com. I'm so excited that you're here today, and I am not taking it for granted that you're choosing to spend some time listening and learning and growing today. And today's topic is something that I have been thinking about and putting into practice for a little bit now. And I want to just share these insights with you because I think this will be something that will be extremely helpful to you. Now, today's topic is going to be something that if you are a little more practically minded, you may struggle with, and you may have that inner critic and that voice that rises up in you, the skepticism that says, I don't know about this stuff. And trust me, I get it, right? Like, I'm from New York. I live in New Jersey. I'm in the Northeast. Skepticism and cynicism is like a way of life up here. But go with me on this journey, if you will, and be willing to be open to examining yourself and thinking about this. And what's the worst that can happen, right? Just try something, entertain some new thoughts during this episode. So I'm going to be talking about creative affirmations and the power behind these affirmations. Now, again, I know some of you right now, you just rolled your eyes. I actually heard it. It was that hard, right? And I would have been with you doing that even a couple of years ago. But on this journey towards trying to be more on top of my mental health game and being the best creative I can be, I've really leaned into this practice of creative affirmations. And so I'm excited to dive into this episode with you. Thinking about affirmations, again, you may be thinking, well, this is kind of woo-woo. This is kind of airy-fairy, whatever words you want to put with it. But there's actually some merit to what happens when we practice affirmations. As an artist, as a writer, musician, a creator of any kind, we spend a significant amount of time in our heads, right? This is where we create. This is where we dream. This is where we think things up. It's a space of innovation, ideation, but often it's also a battleground of self-doubt and even overthinking, right? Yes, overthinking. I know some of you wear that like a badge of honor, but it's real. It's a struggle. And this leads me to the first point I want to make, which is as creative individuals, we need tools to help us navigate this labyrinth of our minds. And I believe that affirmations can be the compass guiding us through. And it's a tool, right? Affirmations are a tool. So what are affirmations besides a tool? Well, they can actually be kind of a catalyst for our creativity. I mean, affirmations are, in essence, positive statements that reflect our goals, values, and strengths. I mean, they can act as powerful declarations that help shape our mindset and that can actually influence our actions. These aren't like magical statements. These aren't little wish statements in the inside of our heads, wishful thinking, right? Let me give you an example. My creativity flows effortlessly, and each idea is a masterpiece in the making. Now, like I said, affirmations are not just wishful thinking. They are actually internal positive thoughts that can challenge our self-doubt and foster a mindset of growth and possibility. It's kind of like using your imagination to say, this is what I believe to be true, even if my external world experience isn't telling me that that is true. It's believing it inside first. It's affirming these things to you, starting at that place of, this is what I believe to be true, and I'm going to let the other things be shaped by this. Another example. I trust my unique creative voice and express it authentically in each piece I create. Now, we have creative power that's within us. This is the place where creativity sparks, where we get the ideas, we get the inspiration. And affirmations can serve as a beacon and to kind of redirect our focus from, instead of being self-critical, we can be actually self-empowering. Here's another example. My mind is a wellspring of imaginative ideas, and I trust in the abundance of my creative potential. Now, second key point, affirmations break the chains of self-doubt and can give us the freedom to explore and experiment and truly embrace the creative journey. It's hard to create when you're mired in self-doubt, when you're constantly critiquing yourself, comparing yourself, listening to that inner critic. And how do we know that these affirmations are going to work? I mean, especially for those of us who spend, like I said, so much time in our heads. Well, there's actually some science at work here. And the brain, if you haven't thought about this, it's kind of like any other muscle, and it can be trained. I mean, we know that we can learn new things, right? But maybe we never actually stop to think about this. Affirmations act as mental workouts. They can reshape the neural pathways that dictate our thoughts and responses. So even if you are someone who your bias is towards the negative, is towards the, this is never going to work, or I'm not good enough, or my work will never be seen by whoever, it'll never sell for X amount of dollars. Like all the things that we tell ourselves, the doubts, the critiques, even if that's your natural tendency, there is a way that you can start to rewire your thinking so that you're actually starting from a place of affirmation. You're changing neural pathways in your brain that dictate your thoughts and responses. And I have seen this at work in my own life because I have spent years in some negative thinking and just assumed, well, that's just the way I am. That's just the way things are for me. That's how I think. It's part of who I am. And I never really stopped to think, well, can I change that? Until I really challenged myself because I was tired of that broken record and tired of the mental health struggles that go along with that. Now, as creative individuals, we often wrestle with that inner critic, right? Like I said, and we're questioning every brushstroke. We're questioning every word or every note or whatever it is that we're creating. And affirmations can actually challenge this narrative that we've had playing in our heads again and again and introduce a positive dialogue, right? We're talking to ourselves in a positive light. And it can say, you're capable, you're unique, your creativity is actually a force to be reckoned with. And to keep these things before us continually. And here's an actionable part for you, right? Because some of you, you're like, okay, fine. You're talking about these examples. You're setting the stage, but give me something to do. Well, here's the actionable part. It's incorporating affirmations into your daily routine. Begin or end your day with even just a few moments dedicated to practicing these affirmations. I mean, if you make it a habit, a ritual, it can fortify your creative spirit. It can start to, again, get you thinking in a different direction. Here's another example of a creative affirmation. With each creative endeavor, I grow and evolve, embracing the journey with gratitude. Here's my final point. Consistency, that's the secret sauce. You know that I'm always talking about consistency, about habits. I mean, daily creative habit is all about that in terms of our creativity. But now I'm actually talking about this in terms of affirmations, in terms of how we speak to ourselves and the things that we say. Affirmations aren't this one-time fix. It's not like you're going to cast a spell. It's not like you're reciting something that's magical, but it's actually a daily practice that you can engage. And it's a conscious choice to nurture this type of dialogue in our creative minds. You know, as we wrap up this episode, I really want to encourage you to explore and to dive into the power and the importance of affirmations. And you may be surprised at what happens. You know, your creativity is a gift, and affirmations are the keys to unlocking its full potential, because you will never be able to fully embrace your gift yourself, nor give it away, if you stay mired in self-doubt, in overthinking, in the critique. Here's another affirmation. I am a vessel of creative energy, and my work has the power to inspire and impact the world. This stuff has been so important to me that I actually put together a resource. And it was a thought one day I had. I'm like, I'm practicing these things as part of my own personal journey. And like many things that I create, they come out of my own experiences. They come out of me examining my experiences and saying, if I'm dealing with this, I'm probably not the only one. And I think the things that I'm learning, the things I'm experiencing can be helpful for other people. That's at the core of everything that I create. And so I decided that I wanted to create another book. And it's called Creative Power, 30 Days of Creative Affirmations. And it's a simple book. It's a resource. It gives you 30 days of affirmations that are designed for creative people. And there's also a quote that goes along with it from some famous person that kind of underscores whatever that creative affirmation is about. And it's just designed to give you a starting point, to give you something to practice, give you a script, if you will, to start speaking to yourself. And again, the key here is repetition. It's consistency, right? And so I know it could be very easy to say, well, I don't know what affirmations to use. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to strip all that away and give you a tool, a resource, and a method so that you can enter into this a lot quicker and start to see some of the results quicker. 30 days of affirmations. You could simply take this daily affirmation, recite it a few times in the morning, a few times before you go to bed. Keep this book on your nightstand or someplace accessible that when you're getting up and when you're going to sleep, it's right there. And take it for a test run, 30 days. Even if you miss a day or two, don't beat yourself up. Take it for a test drive for 30 days and see what happens. See if you don't start acknowledging some of these things as true of yourself. See if this doesn't lift your eyes and your whole mood out of maybe the overthinking, the critical thinking, the negative, See if maybe it starts to give you some new things to think. It starts to open up those new neural pathways that I spoke about before. And if after 30 days you're not feeling it, fine. No harm, no foul, right? But at least give it a try. And this book is available on my website. If you go to mikebrennan.me, it's right there on the homepage. There's a link that you can click to buy this book. It's available on Amazon.com. So if you have an Amazon account, you have free shipping, or even if you have a Kindle, there's a Kindle version, an ebook version. You can load it on that device. I'm trying to make this, again, as easy and as simple as possible so that the barriers are taken away. So what do you think? Are you in? Are you willing to try maybe for 10, 15 minutes a day, divided up in morning and night, practicing some daily positive creative affirmations? Are you ready to start to take ownership over your thinking, over your mood, not just your creative actions, not just your ideas, not just the things that you want to see be put out into the world by how you show up for your creativity, but actually in your thinking as you show up for your creativity? It's so important. And it's especially important if you find yourself struggling with some mental health. Try this. See what happens. I'd love to hear about your experiences. I'd love to hear if you have ideas for other things of improvement or things that have worked for you in terms of maybe some daily affirmations. I'm by no means a master or expert in this. I'm just simply sharing with you some things that I've been doing, a practice I have put into place, and something that I have seen make a difference in how I'm talking to myself before I even show up to create, how I'm setting expectation for myself, for my work, how I'm rewriting some of those neural pathways, one affirmation at a time, one day at a time, little by little, it all adds up. It's consistency. So, will you join me? Will you consider it? I would love for you to join me on this journey. 30 days of affirmations. Go to mikebrennan.me, purchase your copy of Creative Power, and let's get going. I'd love to hear how this goes for you. As I always end these solo episodes, go create something. Thanks for listening today. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, leave a rating and a review. It really helps this podcast be seen and heard by others.